You know, the goose killer in Springfield, well, it turned out to be a white man. Do you remember this clip?
Motor vehicle accidents have skyrocketed. Recording of 911 calls even show residents are reporting that the migrants are walking off with the town's geese. They take in the geese. You know where the geese are? In the park, in the lake. And even walking off with their pets.
Now, according to Donald Trump, these were black people, Haitians. All right, they're the ones doing this. Okay, he had his whole MAGA cult calling in, threatening people, echoing this madness on their podcasts and opinion platforms. Well, let's go to it. It turns out there is a goose killer in Springfield, a white man named Brian. The Texas Observer correspondent, Stephen Monticelli, posted on Twitter that there was indeed an arrest made of someone illegally hunting geese on a Springfield golf course. 64-year-old Brian Comer, a white male. Comer also pleaded guilty, and paid a $200 fine. The date of the arrest was September 10th, the day of the presidential debate between Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. Trump started making claims about geese and ducks 2 days after the debate. One day after local Springfield officials said there was, quote, no evidence of such claims. That element of the story stemmed from a Reddit photo taken in July about 50 miles away in Columbus, Ohio, that showed a black man carrying a dead goose. The photo went viral on social media in the wake of rumors about migrants with Trump boosters falsely claiming it was a Haitian who killed the bird in Springfield. The person who took the photo told the Columbus Dispatch, quote, I wish I never took it for sure. And I hate that the picture that I took is being weaponized to use against immigrants or really any other group. They always have somebody to use as a weapon. Since the lives began, the city of Springfield has endured bomb threats, evacuations, and immigrants living in Springfield have faced countless harassment in media and online. But it was a white guy named Brian. So, is Donald Trump going to correct the record? No, of course not. Is Donald Trump going to be posed a real question? Hey, listen, you know, you said that Haitians were walking away with geese. Actually, it did happen. It was a white guy named Brian. Is Trump then going to apologize for the lie? No, he's going to say, well, that may have happened, but the other thing happened too. My sources tell me that I saw it on television. Of course not. Do you think his followers care? No. Why? They know they're being lied to. You see, they're playing this game among themselves. They are okay with the lies. They are propaganda. That's all it is rhetoric. Michael, I'm convinced that many in MAGA were well aware that this was just a racial trope and they like racism. And so they jump on it. Now, there are some who actually do believe this garbage, but there are so many who don't care if it's true or not, as long as it's racist against other groups. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more right than one thing you said, which is that they don't believe it. I think that they believe everything this guy says, which makes them, far more dangerous. I've spent a lot of time, as you know, Dr. Richey, talking to these people as recently as last month and about this. And they would say to me, one gentleman in particular, I said, look, it's been disproven. The town has said that they're not eating cats and dogs. So do you think we should still be talking about it? He said, yes, we should still be talking about it. Right?
Wow.
And so you hear that, and then all of them were talking about the geese. All right, maybe they're not eating the cats and dogs, but they're stealing and eating the geese, right? That's because they heard Donald Trump say it. So they repeat it without caring, without wondering, without knowing if it's true. They don't care that it's true. If he says it, it is gospel, which makes it a little bit well, a lot of it cult-like, and that's why so many people think of MAGA as a cult rather than just a political movement that will go away when the leader goes away. And so, you know, the one woman was talking about the goose. I said, well, does it make it, you know, what she said, if it's not cats and dogs and it's the geese, they're stealing the geese. And I said, well, you know, how is that different than hunting, right? And she said, well, hunting is more humane. Which of
Wow.
course, you know, which had me my jaw drop a little bit. But again, it's because he said it, not because they think it through, or even because they want to, you know, or they doubt its veracity. If Donald Trump said it, that's enough for them.
Let me ask you this question, because you cover more of these events than anybody I know in the world. And we highlight your coverage right here on Indisputable. And I see some of the answers. Obviously, it looks like some people just aren't connecting to your question in the way they answer the question. But out of all the interviews you have done with Trump supporters across this whole country, would you say, and I'm saying this based on what you just told us, that is almost like they're in a cult because they really don't have the ability to analytically think. Okay. So we would say in psychology, you would say, well, if a person is void of self-realization and being able to be critical of information, that individual is indoctrinated. We would say that's indoctrination because you're not critically analyzing the information you're receiving. Indoctrination is the first step to cult behavior. You have to be indoctrinated first. So would you say that MAGA is performing in its behavior more like a cult than a political movement?
Right. I would say yes, but I would also qualify by saying that I'm probably not qualified to answer it in the clinical sense as you might be or as others would be. But I know how to compare it to other political movements that I've seen, whether it be the love for Ronald Reagan, the love for Barack Obama, that kind of attachment to a candidate and a movement. This is very, very different from that. These are people that don't want to be any more informed, or in a different way, they feel as if they are more informed because they're getting their information from sources that they want to believe because this person is telling that to them. Many of them are in it for the inclusion. They're a part of society that they feel has been excluded, and now they are included in a conversation to which they were never invited. Just one more thing about that is that mirrors Donald Trump in a sense. Donald Trump is someone from Queens in New York who always wanted, through his money and his power and his name, to be included in the Manhattan elite, right? He was always excluded. He accidentally found MAGA. He came by them by accident. He said, let's drain the swamp. Let's get rid of these people. And they all said, hey, somehow this billionaire is on our side. We somehow believe that this man with $1 billion who wouldn't look at us or walk into a restaurant where we were eating because of what we looked like, all of a sudden he wants to embrace us. They love that about him. And so there is a cult-like part of that, no question about it. I don't think it sustains as much as sort of a Reagan Revolution type of political attachment would sustain, though.
We shall see.